Abandoned wife. Returns as a billionaire nobody expected. Imagine you've just found out your husband is having an affair, and you're 7 months pregnant. But that's not the worst part. As you lie in a hospital bed, fighting for your life and your unborn child, he hands you divorce papers, and then says these words: "You were just a stepping stone. I need someone who can help my career, not hold me back." How does a woman like Sarah go from a broken wife in a hospital bed to one of the most powerful billionaires in the world? It's a journey you won't believe, but trust me, you'll want to know how it all went down. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories. Sarah is exhausted, frail in a sterile hospital room. The neon lights flicker overhead, and the quiet beeps of the machines feel like an eerie countdown, as if time itself is holding its breath. She's just learned the one thing every woman dreads. Her husband, Michael, is having an affair. But this isn't just any affair. It's with his business partner, the woman who could take him higher than Sarah ever could. And it gets worse. Much worse. Sarah lies in that hospital bed, swollen with pregnancy, clutching the sheets, her mind racing. She's been fighting for her health, for the child growing inside her. But her fight isn't just against her body, it's against the betrayal that cuts deeper than any physical pain. The door swings open. Michael enters, his face cold, his expression unreadable. He holds a manila envelope in his hand. Divorce papers. He places them on her hospital tray with a sound so final it feels like a judgment. "Sarah, we need to talk." His voice is a mix of calm indifference and condescension, the same voice she's heard so many times before. The voice that promised a future, until it didn't. He doesn't even sit down. He's already made up his mind. His career is more important than his wife. His ambition outweighs everything else. He drops the bombshell. "You were just a stepping stone. I need someone who can help my career, not hold me back." Sarah stares at him, her heart sinking into her stomach. The man she built her life around, the man she trusted, the man who promised forever. And now, this. The coldness in his voice stabs at her, sharper than the needle in her arm. He doesn't care about the pregnancy. He doesn't care about their daughter. He's already thinking about the next woman who can give him what he wants. Michael was never the loving husband Sarah thought he was. No. He was always driven, obsessed with success, the perfect partner for the business-savvy woman in his arms, until the moment he needed someone else, someone more useful, someone who wouldn't slow him down. "Sign it," he says, cold and clinical, without the slightest flicker of empathy. "You'll be better off. You'll thank me later." Tears blur Sarah's vision. She's fighting her emotions, her body, and her very will to survive. She reaches out with shaking hands, tears mixing with the sterile smell of the hospital. She signs the papers, sealing her fate. Not because she wants to, but because she has no choice. In that moment, the woman who once gave everything for her husband's dreams is left with nothing but her unborn child, and the hollow echo of Michael's words. She's alone. He leaves, the door closing behind him with a soft click, a door that will never open again, at least not for her. And Sarah. Sarah is left with her grief, her broken heart, and a future that suddenly looks a lot more uncertain. The hospital bed feels colder now. It's not just the sterile, clinical coldness of the room. It's the absence of everything Sarah thought she had. It's the isolation of being in this battle alone. But there's something else brewing inside Sarah, something that no one can take from her. The faintest flicker of resolve. She may have lost Michael. She may have lost the man she thought was her future. But what she hasn't lost is herself. Months later, Sarah's life has become a blur of sleepless nights, work, and the small victories of motherhood. It's hard, exhausting, and lonely. But she's not defeated. No, she's learning to rebuild herself, brick by brick, for her daughter, for the future. Sarah, a woman fighting against all odds. She now works 2, sometimes 3, jobs just to make ends meet. Her life is about survival. Every night she holds her daughter close, wondering how she'll make it. Every day she faces the world with a smile, but behind that smile is a woman on the edge, one step away from collapse. But then something happens. The phone rings. Sarah, sitting at a small desk in a cramped apartment, a lawyer's voice crackles through the phone. Her grandmother's lawyer, the inheritance, the game changer. Sarah, your grandmother has left you something, a tech empire, worth $847 million. The words hang in the air like a dream too big to believe, and for a moment, Sarah just stares at the wall, not knowing how to respond. But this is the moment that changes everything. Sarah isn't just a single mom anymore. She's no longer the woman who was betrayed and abandoned. She's the woman with the power to take control of her life, to take control of her future, and maybe, just maybe, to take control of the world. But Sarah doesn't rush into this new world. No, she takes her time. Slowly, methodically, she builds. She rebrands the company, hires the right people, and starts transforming it into a billion-dollar AI venture. The woman who was once left with nothing now stands at the helm of one of the most promising tech companies in the world. The montage begins. Business meetings, boardrooms, quick phone calls with investors, charity galas filled with suits and ties. The camera focuses on Sarah's face, her eyes sharp, her demeanor unbreakable. She's no longer a woman drowning in her past. She's a woman who's learned to swim, and now she's breaking through the surface. And then, just as Sarah begins to settle into her new life, one she built from nothing, there's a question we all need to ask ourselves. What happens when the person who betrayed you comes back, not recognizing the power you've gained, but only seeing the person they once discarded? The clock is ticking. Will Sarah take the high road, or will she finally take her revenge? What would you do if someone who abandoned you in your weakest moment suddenly showed up when you had everything they never thought you would? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for the next chapter in Sarah's journey. 5 years later. Everything is about to change again. There's a sound in the air, something like the faint hum of machinery, the constant buzz of success you can almost feel as you move through the sleek, glassy corridors of a world that once felt out of reach. Sarah strides through it now, head held high, not a shadow of the woman who once cried alone in a hospital room. The journey wasn't easy. Far from it. It never is. But Sarah didn't have time to wallow, no time for the pain of betrayal, of abandonment. The child in her arms became the fuel for her fire. Every sleepless night, every painful day at work, it all fueled something more powerful than the grief of her past. She wasn't just working for survival anymore. She was working to make sure that she was the one who called the shots from here on out. No one would ever get to strip her of her worth again. No one. Sarah's face looked focused, determined. The young woman who once let Michael's words break her is gone, replaced by someone far stronger, far more powerful. Sarah leans over a stack of papers, signing off on an agreement, as her daughter, Lily, plays in the background. The apartment is cozy, but it's filled with the quiet hum of ambition. She pulls herself up, out of her chair, and walks over to the large glass window in her small office, her mind racing. The sun sets outside, painting the sky in hues of red and orange. But in her heart, the fire of determination burns brighter than ever. Sarah takes a deep breath and looks at the skyline. She can see her future unfolding in front of her. And it isn't sitting idly in luxury. It's something much bigger. It's building something from scratch, just like she did with her daughter. Something that will ensure her legacy is never just about money. It's about power, control, influence. Her decision is made. She will transform the inherited empire into something far more than anyone could have imagined. She will take it into the world of artificial intelligence, the next frontier of technology. And she will be at the helm. But as Sarah's empire grows, so does the pressure. The spotlight, once something she avoided, is now her constant companion. And with that spotlight comes scrutiny, criticism, expectations, jealousy. One late night, as she reviews a pitch for the AI project, Sarah receives an email, a cryptic message from an anonymous source. Watch your back. Your past is coming to find you. The message chills her to the bone. She brushes it off, telling herself it's just paranoia. But deep down, she knows something is off. The past is never far behind, and she knows that soon it will find its way back to her doorstep. The following weeks are a blur of press conferences, investor meetings, and gala events. Sarah attends a high-profile tech conference where she showcases her company's latest AI development, an intelligent algorithm capable of predicting human behavior with alarming accuracy. The media hypes it up, calling it a breakthrough, and for the first time in years, Sarah feels the weight of her success. She's no longer the forgotten wife. She's the woman who's changing the world. But as she steps off the stage, ready to celebrate her success, her phone buzzes again. Another email. He's coming. You can't outrun your past. Sarah sighs, rubbing her temples. She knows who this is about. The same man who tossed her aside like she was nothing. The man who didn't care that she was pregnant. The man who abandoned her, only to chase success at the expense of everything else. Michael. And just like that, Sarah's world, built so carefully and with such precision, begins to crack at the edges. Michael, sitting in his dimly lit office. His company is on the brink of collapse. His former business partner, Sarah's former affair rival, has left him for someone wealthier. His financial empire is crumbling. Desperation is thick in the air, and the walls feel like they're closing in. Michael needs help. He's been following Sarah's rise from the shadows, watching her name become synonymous with success. It burns him, knowing she has everything he once thought he could control, knowing she's the one he discarded. But now he needs her. He needs her connections, her power, and he's willing to do anything to get it back. Sarah, standing by a sleek modern desk, staring out at the city skyline. The weight of the emails, the whispers in the press, and the looming shadow of Michael's return weigh heavily on her mind. Is this a coincidence? Or is something far darker about to unfold? The stage is set for a collision, one Sarah never saw coming. As she enters the VIP lounge, she spots Michael across the room. For a moment, their eyes meet, but she doesn't recognize him. He's different now, dressed in a shabby suit, looking desperate and defeated. His face is drawn, but there's something in his eyes, something that's always been there, the ambition, the hunger. And then he takes a step toward her, his expression filled with uncertainty, desperation, and just a hint of regret. But Sarah doesn't move. She doesn't smile. She doesn't acknowledge him. What will he say? Will he apologize for the years he took from her, for the pain he caused? Or will he just see her as a means to an end? What happens when the man who betrayed you comes back, not recognizing the power you've gained, but seeing the opportunity to use you once again? Stay tuned for the explosive moment when Michael finally faces the woman he abandoned and discover how Sarah chooses to confront the past. Do you think Sarah will take the high road, or will she finally seek revenge? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for the next chapter in Sarah's journey. The Tech Summit is buzzing with energy, the air thick with potential deals and opportunities. But for Sarah, it feels more like a stage where she has more than just a seat in the audience. She's the one people are watching, the one everyone wants to be near. The room is filled with billionaires, venture capitalists, and investors, all vying for her attention. The world she once felt so distant from is now her realm. But as Sarah moves through the crowd, her eyes lock onto something unexpected, a familiar face, one she hasn't seen in years. Michael. He's standing near the bar, scanning the room, his eyes desperate. He looks different, thinner, the weight of failure hanging on his shoulders. He's no longer the confident businessman who once saw her as nothing more than a stepping stone. Now, it's clear. He's the one who's crumbling, the one who needs help. But what Sarah doesn't know, what none of the people in the room know, is that this is no coincidence. Michael has been watching her rise from the shadows, tracking her every success, and now he's desperate for a piece of it, desperate to find the way back to the life he lost. And Sarah? She's the bridge. As Sarah navigates through the crowd, she can't help but feel the weight of Michael's gaze. It's like he's pulling her in, despite her best efforts to stay focused on the task at hand. And then, out of nowhere, he approaches her. He stops in front of her, his voice uncertain but tinged with familiarity. "Sarah, is that really you?" Her first instinct is to keep walking, to ignore him completely. But something makes her stop. She turns slowly, her eyes meeting his. Michael stammers, unsure of himself for the first time in years. It's been a long time. Sarah's face remains impassive, her eyes scanning his appearance. The man who once held all the power in their relationship now looks small, vulnerable. She almost feels sorry for him. Almost. I almost didn't recognize you, he continues, trying to mask his desperation with forced casualness. You've changed. And changed she has. Gone is the woman who once let him walk all over her. Gone is the woman who signed those divorce papers in silence, broken and bruised. Now, Sarah stands before him, powerful, poised, and with a future that doesn't include him. But Michael doesn't see that. He doesn't see the woman who built an empire from nothing. No. He only sees the opportunity, the chance to claw his way back into the world that slipped through his fingers. And in Sarah, he sees a way in. Michael's desperation seeps into his voice. Look, I know things ended badly between us, he says, his words tumbling out in a rush. But I've got a proposal. My company, it's failing. We're at a crossroads. We need investors, and I know you've got the connections. I thought maybe you could help me. Sarah doesn't respond immediately. She simply watches him, her gaze unwavering. Michael's words hang in the air, but they don't move her. She's been here before. She's heard this before. The man who walked away from her, who discarded her like yesterday's news, now comes to her with empty promises and hollow apologies. You're asking me for money, Michael? She finally says, her voice calm, cool. You're asking me to save your company after everything that's happened? He nods, his eyes pleading. It's not just about the money. It's about rebuilding. It's about redemption. But Sarah doesn't flinch. She doesn't get emotional. She doesn't let him see how badly his words hurt, how the ghost of their past still lingers between them. Instead, she looks at him with a piercing gaze and delivers the coldest line of all. You don't get special treatment, Michael. You don't get to rewrite the past just because you need something from me. The room around them seems to fade as Sarah's words hang in the air, cutting through the tension like a blade. Michael recoils, his face shifting from desperation to shock. For a brief moment, his guard slips. The arrogant, entitled man she once knew is nowhere to be found. Instead, there's just a man standing before her, broken and defeated. You said I was holding you back, Sarah continues, her voice steady but full of quiet power. You said I was a stepping stone. Well, here we are. And I'm not the one who needs saving anymore. Michael tries to recover, but the words are already out. Sarah has taken control of the moment, and he knows it. His pitch, his desperate plea for help, falls flat against her newfound strength. Mr. Chen, Sarah says, her tone now a bit sharper, my assistant will review your proposal. We evaluate hundreds of pitches every month. Michael's face falls as he hears the formality in her voice, the same voice that once held so much warmth for him. But not anymore. Now, he's just another pitch, just another business proposal to evaluate, and then the final blow. You're right. You're not just another pitch. You're the man who served me divorce papers while I was in the hospital with our child. You're the man who threw me away, and now you want me to save you? Michael's face crumbles as Sarah's words pierce him. He can't respond, can't find the words to fix what he's done. The silence between them stretches, a chasm that feels impossible to cross. And then, almost on instinct, he asks the one question he should have asked long ago. What about our daughter? Do I have any right to see her? To know her? The question hangs in the air, and for the first time, Sarah's mask cracks. Just a little. Her eyes soften, and for the briefest moment, the weight of the past catches up to her, but she quickly regains her composure. She's 5 now, Sarah says, her voice quieter but firm. Her name is Lily. She loves dinosaurs and wants to be an astronaut, and she's my responsibility now. You signed away your right when you signed those papers, Michael. Tears well in his eyes. I never wanted to lose her. I never wanted any of this. Sarah nods. I know. But this isn't about us anymore. It's about her. As Sarah turns to walk away, she leaves Michael standing there, utterly defeated. He calls after her, his voice breaking. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry. But Sarah doesn't stop. She doesn't turn around. She doesn't need to. As she walks away, she finally speaks the words she's carried with her for so long. I forgave you a long time ago, Michael, not for you, for me. Carrying that anger was exhausting, and with that, Sarah moves forward, her head held high, her purpose clear. She's done with the past, and whatever the future holds, it's hers to claim. What would you have done if you were Sarah? Would you have let the past go, or would you have taken revenge? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories of triumph and betrayal. Our next story is just around the corner, and you won't want to miss it.